Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. If you have travel plans this weekend, you probably shouldn't. Be ready for some difficult driving conditions. Our Storm Tracker weather team says we're in for a potent weekend of weather, followed by some very cold air.
That system will bring moderate to heavy snow to western Montana today, even more in the mountains and the valleys this weekend. So let's get right to it and turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Yost in the Storm Tracker Weather Center. Aaron.
Yeah, if you think it's bad out there right now in some spots, just wait till tomorrow, especially if you're going to be anywhere near the Continental Divide. That's where we've got blizzard-like conditions set for us this weekend. Right now, this is Hamilton. Earlier this afternoon for Security Bank ICAM, we are dodging some snow showers here and there. A heavier line now extending pretty much from Interstate 90 just west of Missoula all the way through the panhandle of central Idaho. And if you look just south of Spokane, you see a couple of yellow flashes there. Yep, we got some thunder snow in the mix. So this is a very potent system, and this just wave one of what we're going to see. Winter weather advisories in place for most of western Montana as we move into tomorrow morning, but we now have winter storm warnings that are in effect starting Saturday morning right through most of the day on Sunday for even heftier amounts. I'll break down this whole complex system coming up in a few minutes.
The FBI says more than a month before that shooting rampage at a South Florida high school, the Bureau received a warning that the 19-year-old charged in the massacre might carry out an attack at a school. But investigators failed to act on that tip. The startling disclosure came 2 days after police say Nicholas Cruz marched into his former high school in Parkland, Florida, and gunned down 17 people, most of them teenagers. In a statement, the FBI said it received a tip on January 5th from a person close to Nicholas Cruz reporting some concerns about him. That person was not identified, but told the FBI's public tip line about Cruz's gun ownership, his desire to kill people, his erratic behavior, and some disturbing social media posts, as well as the potential of him conducting a school shooting. Attorney General Jeff Sessions says he has ordered his Deputy Attorney General, the #2 law enforcement official in the country, to review the Bureau's handling of that matter. After Wednesday's shooting, we wanted to know what local schools are required to do in case of an emergency like the one we saw in Florida. State law requires Montana schools to prepare and adopt safety plans and report those plans to the Office of Public Instruction. Schools are also required to have 8 disaster drills per school year. There's a catch here, though. It's up to local school districts to determine what qualifies as a hazard. That could mean anything from fires to earthquakes to lockdowns. OPI Superintendent Elsie Arnson said they're taking the events in Florida seriously, but they're hesitant to require schools to take more precautions.
After the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary a few years ago, Missoula County Public Schools collaborated with Missoula law enforcement to train staff on active resistance training. Now, in the wake of this week's high school shooting in Florida, there will be further analysis of those local procedures. Missoula Police, Sheriff, and University of Montana Police have worked with an outside company that specializes in active shooter drills to develop a training program unique to the schools. The head of MCPS Operations and Maintenance says they are forming a new committee, though, to look at modifying safety procedures.
We're putting the committee together currently where we'll have teachers, administrators, and a group of people kind of come together who have been trained and certified in this training and see what it looks like and how we can put it out there, because it is very different, very unique from a traditional lockdown drill.
If you'd like to view those MCPS safety protocols, you can find them on our website at KPAX.com.
After the shooting on Wednesday, many parents, students, and teachers in western Montana are struggling with how to cope or even help others deal with yet another tragedy we've seen in schools. But how will you be able to tell if your child needs to talk about it? Dr. Robert Valine, who's a neuropsychologist, says look carefully for changes in your child's behavior, mood, appetite, or sleep habits. Ask yourself, are they withdrawing from activities they would normally love? Are they having nightmares? Are they anxious? Ask yourself the same things too. Adults will exhibit the same symptoms as children, but Dr. Valine said the only difference is adults can hide it better. Before starting the conversation, parents should do their research and make sure to pick the time that you plan to talk about this carefully. Choose a time when you and your kids would normally communicate, during breakfast, on the car ride home, after dinner, before bedtime, or any other time you might normally catch up. And make sure you choose a time where you have nowhere else to be for at least a few hours.
We want to really listen, and then listen some more. Now, having said that, we also want to be honest with them, because a lot of these things don't make sense, and it's important for them to see that we can struggle with this and we can provide honest answers, and sometimes those answers are even, I don't know. I don't know why bad things happen in the world all of the time.
Dr. Verleen says having open communication makes it more likely your kids will talk about not only what they're afraid of, but they also may open up about any suspicious activity going on in their own schools. We'll have more from Dr. Verleen coming up tonight at 10.
Salute to Service is sponsored by Flathead Electric Cooperative, your not-for-profit member-owned co-op.
In other news tonight, it's a bold step being a 16-year-old teen with the courage to come forward and tell the frightening tale of human trafficking. Yet that story of transition and survival prompted Montana lawmakers to strengthen the state's laws against this demeaning crime.
In this week's Salute to Service, MTN's Nicole Miller introduces us to Adrian, who broke her silence in order to help others.
Hi, my name is Adrian. I'm 23 years old, and I'm a human trafficking survivor.
She will tell you herself. She's not your typical 23-year-old.
My abuse started at the early age of 5 years old.
But Adrian's story is becoming more common.
At age 11, I got sold to a pimp. I was trafficked until the age of 16.
As the country suffers from a rise in human trafficking.
Montana has had 3 times as many human trafficking cases in 2017 as we had in 2015.
And that number is likely to continue to rise as online platforms like Backpage.com drive force. Fortunately for Adrian, she was rescued in another state and ended up at a safe house in Montana, where she met Grace Manchala.
We bring them to a place of restoration so they can start functioning as a normal citizen once again.
Manchala is a survivor of human trafficking herself and now looks to protect the most vulnerable members of society, like Adrian.
Her mom died when she was born, and then she was given up for adoption. And her adopted father and brother started grooming her right from the time she was 5 years old, sexually assaulting her, raping her from the time she was 5 years old until 11 years old.
Manchala runs Glory for Ashes, a nonprofit organization that fights human trafficking through education and outreach. Manchala encouraged Adrian to share her story with the Montana legislature, and in 2013 helped pass anti-trafficking bills. From victim to survivor to leader, Adrian says she has her setbacks, but she's on the road to recovery.
I'm not totally healed, but I'm on the recovery process.
Nicole Miller, MTN News, Kalispell.
Glory for Ashes will be holding a series of 4 evening seminars next Monday through Thursday in Kalispell.
In other local news, Granite County Commissioner Scott Adler pleads innocent to theft charges with accusations he used county equipment on a paving project at his own property last year. Adler is facing 2 misdemeanor charges. An investigation by the Montana Division of Criminal Investigation found Adler had used road equipment at his property, ostensibly to test a certain grinding and milling procedure for asphalt. However, his fellow commissioners have disputed that they knew what was going on. Adler did reimburse the county for $1,400. Thursday, Adler entered not guilty pleas to the charges during a brief appearance in Granite County District Court in Phillipsburg. No trial date has been set. There will be no grizzly bear hunting in Montana, at least not this year. There had been anticipation Montana would allow a limited hunt for grizzlies near Yellowstone, where the bears were taken off the the threatened species list by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service last year. That decision would leave grizzly management, including possible hunts to control bear populations, up to the states, including Idaho and Wyoming. However, yesterday in Helena, the Wildlife Commission was told there are some problems with Montana scheduling a grizzly hunt later this year. FWP staff note there's still pending litigation challenging the delisting. Additionally, there are issues on how to limit the harvest to just a single sow grizzly in addition to half a dozen males. Idaho is scheduled to discuss a grizzly hunt in March. The Wyoming Wildlife Commission has already directed staff to draw up plans for a hunt there this year.
Some big news for public lands as 7,000 acres of land in the middle of Montana's Stillwater State Forest were recently sold, turning them from private to public. The 7,000 acres of forest land are east of Highway 93 near Olney. The Trust for Public Land, in partnership with the Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife and Parks and the Montana Department of Natural Resources, did their own parts in helping to acquire the land and will manage the conservation. It's the first step of the Whitefish Lake Watershed project that aims to have a total of more than 13,000 acres from the areas protected at the project's end. As the Flathead Valley continues to see growth, FWP says the conservation will protect local forestry jobs, clean water, public access for outdoor recreation, and important habitats for a number of species. FWP resource specialist Chris Temple also added the newly protected land is in an area that could have seen development if it wasn't protected.
Especially given where this project is, it's just north of Whitefish, which is prime for development into the future. So being able to secure an area that's going to be sustainably managed for forestry and to protect the fish and wildlife habitat while allowing the public to recreate, it's just a win-win-win for everybody.
We'll have more on the specifics of the project coming up tonight at 10.
Next, Aaron is up to break down the incoming storm systems for this weekend.
And we'll take you to the rink, where supporters of sled hockey hope to carve out a sport that lets everyone play. Still to come.